So this week I'm going to show you how to make your own set of clip-in hair extensions. For my hair extensions, I'm going to be using the Pink Lust brand hair extensions, and these are in the colour 27 and 613, and these are in 18 inches. So I've taken the hair extensions off of the cardboard packaging. I mean, this we can pretty much recycle, but you want to go ahead and keep your plastic pouch, as this is great for storing your hair extensions in between uses. Just a quick view of the hair. As you can see, it's so beautiful, and the 27 is really lovely because it blends really well with my own natural colour. A long time ago, ombre my hair, so I do have a little bit of a blonde gradient going through my ends, so this blonde highlight will really help to make the ends blonder. So to get started, we want to begin by measuring the weft and how long we want the width to be to sit on our head. So the width of each track should be appropriate to where you're going to position your wefts. So initially, I always put my first weft in about the midpoint horizontally of my ears. So you always want to leave about 1 inch to 1.5 inches away from your natural hairline. This is so that you won't see any peaking of your hair extensions, and even if you were to scoop your hair up, then it's completely concealed. So let's go ahead and measure our first weft. So I'm going from the midpoint of my ear here to the midpoint of my ear, and I'm indenting in my hairline. Okay, so we have our first measurements here. So that comes to about 6.5 inches. So what I'll do is I'll cut it at the 6.5 inch point. So we have our first track here, and this is ready to be turned into our first piece for our clip-in extensions. So on a piece like this, I would put 3 clips. Okay, so I hope you can see this properly, and I might need to change up the camera angle. But as you can see here, I've spread out my weft, and with this one, you want the tidier, for lack of a better explanation, the tidier weft to be facing down. So this is what's going to be facing out if you were wearing your hair extensions. Obviously it's going to be clipped under, but that would be facing out. And then on this side, this is where the clips are going to be positioned. So I should have said this beforehand, but we'll roll from here. So with your pack of hair extensions, and if you order from Extras, they kindly give you a little baggie of colour matched clips that you can then go ahead and make your hair extensions with. So I think it's really great that Extras does DIY packs, which allows you to custom make your hair extensions bespokely for yourself. So they're individualized, so to speak, so you can make them as wide or as voluminous as you want. By voluminous I mean you can double up your wefts, or you can go ahead and just leave them single. So you want to remember that this silicone grip side is going to, now this is so important guys, is going to always face down, okay? So can you see this? So you want to make sure that that silicone grip is sewn against the weft. Teeth facing out, so that when it's sewn on, you're going to then be able to clip the hair and snap it shut. Okay? So one at each end and then one dead center. I recommend doing your end ones first and then the center one, because you can judge the middle better once the two ends are on. The two end clips are on. I'm going to use just a regular needle and some thread. You want to make sure that the thread is ideally colour matched or close to the colour, so like your clips closer to that colour so that it blends better. This blends quite well with the blonde, so I'm going for this colour. I do want to just say it is important to make sure that your needle is fine enough that it can go through the clip eyelets. So I've threaded my thread onto my needle. The needle is now in the middle of two pieces, so you can see. So the two ends that finish here, I'm going to now tie a knot in. So you want to line up the edge of the weft with the edge of the clip and begin by going through the clip eyelet, and then you're going to go through the weft like so. You're going to drag that through and you'll reach your knot, which will go through the clip, but it's not going to go through the weft. You can see that. So then you're going to go back through the eyelet and into the weft again, all the way through. And then as you feed it through, you're going to end up with this loop that would get smaller and smaller, and if you pulled it all the way tight, it would be a stitch. So what you're going to do is go through that loop before pulling it tight. And that's going to create a knot. Is go through the teeth of the clip and into the weft. So pull that tight and then go, I'm going to go in the same clip teeth through the weft and come out the other side, and you can keep going through the comb teeth and through the weft. So once you've doubled up on this first tooth, you can just go singles until you reach the larger gap here. You probably want to double up, and this will create a really secure base and make sure that your clip is not going anywhere. Yourself a couple of inches. Make sure you put your needle somewhere safe so you don't stick yourself with it. So then take the ends of your thread and tie a knot, and this will just further secure then you can cut that close to the base. And then your first clip should look like this. So all I need to do now is to sew on the other end clip and then pop another one in the middle, and we'll have completed our first piece. So let's move on to making our second piece. And now I'm going to go to your longest weft, which will sit in the midpoint of the back of your head. So this runs roughly just about below your temple, about your cheekbone area. For this weft, because I do want to add more volume and thickness to my hair, double up this weft. So I'll teach you how to sew a doubled up clip-in weft. You probably don't want to extend too much into the sides, so try and keep it behind your ear. Mine is 8.5 inches. So to make this a doubled up weft, you're literally going to fold from that point that you've separated as a marker and fold it over so that it is doubled. I've even seen some people triple up their wefts, which is astronomically really thick, but double I think is standard, single obviously is. So I'm pulling apart the hair at the root of the weft at that spot where we want to cut it. There it is. And for this size weft, I would recommend putting 4 clips on this one. So at this point, your weft will be folded over. Just make sure the 2 ends are even. Again, pull it tight. And it's also a good idea to really smush the other end, and that will create a definite bend. I did away with my puny, skinny, super tiny eyelet needle. I've now sourced this bad boy. And again, I've taken a whole big long strand, folded it over so that it's doubled over, so the thread is doubled over, and I've just gone ahead and knotted the ends, just like last time. So to do this, you want to, like I said, line up the ends. You first want to start off by going through the first weft and going through the second and threading it through and start our next stitch. So literally go right next to it and through and pull through again. So when you've made your first stitch, you don't have to do this, but I always, when I've done my first stitch, so I know that my corners are secure, I then go around the corner. So I'm going to do 1 stitch around the side part of my weft, and then I'll continue along the seam. So to do that, you're literally going to go back on yourself. So go back near your knot, and you want to make sure that that stitch goes along that side part. And that just creates an extra seal, because those are our 2 cut ends. We don't want the hair to shed, and that's just going to lock the seam in. There's 1 little stitch at the side there. So now we can continue sewing our weft. Go back where you made your first stitch, your first initial stitch, and just go a little bit to the side of it. So your stitch is here, and you're going to go a little bit over. So now we've got 2 little stitches, and basically you're going to continue in this fashion. So go a little bit over each time with your stitches, and you're going to end up with something like this. So that is going to nicely bind our wefts together. up the doubled up weft, which has 4 clips sewn on, just as I showed you before how to sew on your clips. I'm going to demonstrate how we would go about making our third and final weft piece for the back of our head, and then I'll move on to show you how to create the side pieces. So for the third weft, which is going to sit just below your crown of your head, this again is going to be a bit shorter than your longest piece, which was in the middle at the back of your head. So you basically want to go below the crown and measure, again sitting behind your ears. Okay, so I've completed the third and final back piece, and then I've gone ahead and made my side pieces. So I'll make 2 of these single clip pieces, and these measure just about 2 inches in width, and this will sit just above the ear, about 1 inch away from my hairline, so that we don't get any peekaboo extensions. So that will be our first piece, and then the second side piece will be a 2 clip weft, and this size is 4 inches in width, and this will sit again 1 inch away from my hairline and is my side panel. So the way in which that you measure the side panels is that you go ahead, so this is all that I've got left, so is that you go ahead and you're going to measure just a little bit. So go from 1 inch away from your hairline and go just behind your ear, and that will measure, so let's see again, that measures about 2 inches. Then your second piece, you want to measure again about 1 inch away from your hairline, and again going behind your ear, but go a little bit just to about the round of your head. So remember, you're having your back pieces come to about the round of your head behind your ear, so we want to meet that with our side panel, and that measures about 4 inches. So that's how I got my measurements for my side panels. So what I'll do is I'll go and make the remaining 2 side panels of my clip-in extensions, and I'll be back with my final results, with me wearing my new hair extensions that I've made bespokely for me.